What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. This is Before We Forget, where we talk about things before we forget about it. I am Glenn.
I'm Mike, and I don't think that's
You-
quite the intro.
what
But
do you mean? What are we doing?
I mean, we're gonna talk about this in 15 minutes or
That before we
less.
forget.
Right.
So we're
So,
gonna talk about
Glenn,
things. Miguel.
before we forget,
Yeah,
you got a question for me?
I do. Hey, man, before we forget, do you think you could ever date somebody with different political views than you? And in this current climate, this current world that we're living in, it's a little crazy out there, and I don't want to get too political.
Yeah, but it's not a political conversation.
Right?
This
I
is
don't think
more
it,
of
I
a
don't think it
dating.
is. Yeah,
And with this, yes,
you could.
yeah.
Okay.
I think there's having different political views, and then I think there's, in this instance, being adults about it.
Sure.
Right? Everybody's not raised the same, everybody's not brought up the same, and everybody don't think the same. And so my political viewpoints may differ from yours. But does that change the fact that, I love this person or this person loves me? I don't think so. I think it's being respectful of each other's viewpoints and trying to understand where they're coming from.
Now, there's obviously a limit to that, though, right?
Oh, there's definitely a limit to it.
Right. Like,
Right. So
could you date an extremist from
No.
the other side?
No, like when I say it, like if I were Democrat, I could date a Republican
Mm-hmm.
as long as they're like middle ground or closer to
Center left.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's hardcore, like if I'm Democrat and they're hardcore Trumper, or if I'm Republican and they're like hardcore Hillary,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like we're so far off on like what we agree on.
Yeah.
That I don't think that could work. Like that becomes ethical, in my opinion. So
your morals come into question at that point.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't become it. Then it doesn't even become about politics at that point. It becomes about morals,
right.
And then morally, could you be with this person?
No. Now if we're talking morally, no. See, and that's where it differs, because like a lot of Republicans are like pro-life and like all of this, and a lot of Democrats are pro-choice,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how can someone who's pro-life and someone pro-choice kind of like blend? But like I said, that's where the respect comes in, and it's understanding, why do you believe this? Why do you act that way? And are you infringing on other people's rights or beliefs just because you believe one certain way? Right. So we can agree to disagree and have enough respect to not be like, oh, all Democrats are stupid because they believe in pro-choice, or all Republicans are dumb because they believe in pro-life. Like it's their beliefs. That's like running around saying people who believe in Allah or believe in God are stupid.
Yeah.
Like it becomes more of a attack on people rather than stating your beliefs or your values or your morals.
Sure. So what if you were dating somebody and you had never really discussed politics, and you're pretty deep into this, and then you kind of starting to learn that they have pretty extreme views that differ from yours, and you're 3-4 years into this thing? Because I'm sure that happens. People don't always discuss politics with their spouse or their significant other. So
yeah, I'm sure there are people who started dating in 2020, December of 2020, or 2019, I guess it would have been, and then didn't have to talk about this until this year when we're about to elect a new president.
Right.
I feel like it depends on how open they are to conversation. If we can't converse and talk about it and really learn, because if they're not open to learning at all and that's just their viewpoint, I mean, we got to end this.
So with that, Do you think it's okay to kind of cut off maybe friends and family due to political views?
Yes. I mean, I'll tell you 10 times out of 10, yes. I probably would have told you something different 2 years ago, but at this point, I feel like people deserve their peace. And anything that interrupts your peace, get rid of it.
Mhm.
Um, and if someone is morally or ethically disrupting your peace, hi and bye when you see them in person, you know? But you don't have to subject yourself to seeing them online or talking to them on the phone about it or any of that. Like, you really don't.
Mhm.
But I feel like I'm answering everything.
I don't give you the
You keep
opportunity to
right.
let me
I haven't
jump
had
in
a chance
there.
to bounce it back on you. So could you date someone who has different political views?
Um I think if you would have asked me 8 years ago, I would have said yes.
Mm.
Now, I think in the current climate, that's pretty hard to do because we've unfortunately been put in a situation where you are extreme one way or you are extreme the other. You know what I mean? Um, whether or not that's true or I believe that to actually be the case, um, I don't think there's enough common ground
Mm.
to be able to date somebody that has different political views in today's age. Now, let's operate under the assumption that you could um, date somebody with different political views. Again, I think there has to be a common ground there. I don't think it can be like you have to agree on something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because if it's just like, if you just disagree on everything, I just don't know how you can make that work.
I
Like,
mean, but the sex is good. No,
well, you know,
that's your common ground. No,
ah,
not good enough.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's, I mean, that would be tough, honestly, because especially if you look to bring kids in at some point,
Right? Yeah.
what are you teaching them?
Because then you probably have very different views on how those kids should be raised.
Mm, man, man, that's that. So same question. Now you realize that 8 years ago you started dating somebody,
Uh
and
huh.
4 years into it,
Yeah.
boom, they're of the opposite party on the farthest extreme side.
Uh huh.
Are you working through it? Are you ignoring it?
I legitimately don't know if I have an answer for you. As um, unentertaining as that is, I don't know. I don't know.
It's hard when until
When you've
you're
invested that much time and you've brought children into the world, like it's
what if there
tough.
was no children involved?
Would certainly make it a lot easier to kind of reevaluate the situation.
See, I'm of the thinking that 4 years isn't that much time. And that sounds really bad. But when we look at the grand scheme of things, like we're here 60, 70 years. 4 years
Oh,
is like
yeah.
a blip of that.
Yeah, but it's not just going to be that 4 years, right? Like that's something that you now have to going forward with know about this person and
Right. And so
yeah.
can you live with that the rest of your life? And in my mind, I think if the most extreme of the extreme happens on either side, can you live with this person voting against you
Mm,
and potentially winning? That I don't think I could.
I don't know.
I don't think I could.
It would be hard for sure. It would definitely be hard.
It'd be harder to stay with them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I think easy. And it's funny because I've seen so many people like
Well, you
after
think it would
this
be
election.
harder to stay? You think it'd be easier to leave?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. Because like I said, I have the mentality that we've been together 4 years.
But this is only if kids aren't involved at all, right?
Yeah, if kids are involved, then that changes a lot.
Yeah.
But still, it's only been 4 years. But I feel like if you've decided that this person is good enough to have a kid with, or multiple kids with, then there's some type of redeeming quality that you need to try to work through with.
You already said it. The sex is good.
Yeah. Just be like, hey, I'm holding out until you decide to change your ways.
Oh man.
That whole thing would probably be tough. I think the hardest part would be really the raising of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have one parent that's going one way, and the disappointment you will feel if your kids like vote for someone that extreme.
Yeah.
Either way.
You would just be constantly working against each other. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Just like for functionality reasons that it just wouldn't work.
So how would you feel if that person who you're having that big of a moral issue with is a parent?
Wait, say that again.
Like, you know how you asked me, is it okay to like cut people off?
Uh-huh.
Or how would you feel if that person's your parent?
Oh,
Like, do you ignore that because they raised you and this is your parent?
Obviously everybody's going to be different. I personally have had many of conversations of disagreement with one of my parents. I've actually come to kind of figure out that I am like the only person in my family that holds the views that I do. So I'm really working against my entire family here.
I thought there was another.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I do. Yeah, my oldest sister.
Yeah. Okay.
She is, but so
It's just different. Yeah.
yeah, man, it's hard. It's really hard.
Has that affected your relationships with them?
I think a little bit. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I've already lost, like, I don't want to say lost because honestly, like, one person that I've known for quite a while and me got into a little of a
I saw it.
tongue for tat, and
I saw it.
he then blocked me, and
Yeah.
so, you know.
Yep. But
it is what it is. I'm very outspoken with my beliefs. I stand on them. So I think what makes you a coward is if you don't stand on what you believe.
Yeah. Another thing
that's
that
what a
gets
real
me
coward
is when your decision is made based on you, but you're not really thinking of like the future, right?
Yeah.
Like in that situation, you have kids that have to grow up in this country,
right?
So it's really difficult when someone else that's that close is voting the opposite way of you, and you're like, we're raised together, we've been through some shit together, right?
Yeah.
How the hell did you get there? Like, where did things switch up where you went there? And so I think that's always tough. But on that note, y'all let us know what y'all think. Could you date someone with different political views than you? Y'all like, comment, subscribe, and we will catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.
Later.